welcome. All right, so let's go ahead. Oh, you got it. Okay, so all right, let's go ahead and get started. So, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining us. My name is Lafayette. I am executive director for the Pride Foundation, as well as chapter president for Blacks in Technology Houston. I'm honored that you're here to spend the time with us. Stacey, of course, is chapter president for Mid Toronto, along with a whole lot of other titles. So our goal with this session is really to provide information for you that's career related. It's going to be a series, so we're going to do it every month. And the goal is to just give you information and provide resources for you. So please feel free to interact with us, ask us questions. Obviously, Stacey would be leading, I'll be in the background. But please ask questions. If there's something that you're not clear about, please raise your hand, send us a note, say, hey, I didn't understand this, or can you clarify, or anything like that, because it's all about providing information and just creating dialogue between us, because we have a lot of experience that we want to be able to share with you. So you have to interact with us and let us know how it's going, how you're receiving the information. So just a quick bit about the Pride Foundation. We're a nonprofit, again, based in Houston, Texas, and what our focus is to work with young people of color, ages 17 to 21. We provide mentorship, we provide tech training, and we also provide job resources, or career resources, I should say. I don't like the word job. Career resources for young people to get into the technology field, which is pretty much what Blacks in Technology does as well. So we just basically do it on a local scale. So that's really what the Pride Foundation is about. That's what we do all day, every day. That's what I do for the Pride Foundation, as well as Blacks in Technology Houston. So again, I'm glad you're here with us. I'll turn it over to Stacey so she can take over and blow y'all's minds with information. So Stacey, thank you for being here, and the floor is yours.
And thank you for having me, Lafayette. Good evening, everyone. It is a pleasure to be your guest speaker for this evening. So I'm going to share my screen and get right into the presentation. So let me just make it full screen. Here we are. All right, so I'm going to be talking about a few things: mentorship, confidence building strategies, and of course, share some wellness tips. So my session today is ideal for, of course, your last year high school, you're thinking about college, university, or in between jobs. I'm going to share some tips to really help you maximize your potential. So just a little bit about my background. I started working as a teenager. I've had many jobs. At 17, I had 3. I was a medical receptionist, a music store clerk, and a telemarketer. Later, by the time I landed in college, I worked as a legal assistant, a junior drafter, and then I became a political staffer for a cabinet minister, and I worked for federal MP, and I was also admin assistant for a nonprofit. And today, one of the main hats that I wear is an entrepreneur. I am the president and founder of my own company. But one of the things that's really important for developing your career skills is not just what you do academically, and it's not about what you do in a day job. It's also about the skills you develop by being involved in community, giving back to community. So ever since I was very young, in my undergrad, in my 20s, I started off giving back to various nonprofits where I volunteered as a scholarship fund director, an event planner, which is something I still do from time to time for various events in the community, fundraisers for nonprofits. I was also a floor director for a local TV show, a director for the health board, and then today I am the chapter president for Blacks in Technology Foundation, which I'll talk a bit about later. So one of the things I want you to think about is the importance of having a mentor, but how to find the right mentor. And there's a quote that says, "A mentor is a person who provides you with the tools, guidance, support, and feedback you need to thrive in your career. They're often someone who's gone down the same road you're on currently and is there to advise you on what they've done and what's worked for them." So I'm someone who connected with a mentor that I still have when I was 19 years old. And this person has done these very things, has opened doors for me in terms of my career, has referred me for jobs. And it's also about being able to build a long-term relationship with your mentor. So this is from the article, 7 Qualities That Make a Good Mentor and How to Find Someone Who Has Them All. So I am going to put a link to an activity in the chat, and I'm going to share the screen for this activity. So just bear with me while I do that. So the question is, and it's pretty simple. So this is called Padlet. So when I share my screen, you'll see everybody's answer. So I'm just going to put it in the chat here. Okay, so just click the link in the chat. See if it goes to everyone. One moment, everyone. All right, so click the link in the chat, and then I'm going to share my screen so that we could see what we're talking about, what we're going to be doing. So this is a pretty cool activity, and it's anonymous. So the question is, what makes someone a great mentor, right? So for me, I put as a sample response, resourceful and willing to share knowledge with some details. A great mentor knows lots of useful information and will share the right information to help others. So if you notice in the very bottom where my cursor is, there is a plus button. If you click the plus button, you can participate in this activity. So just click the plus button, and it'll be great to hear from each of you. What makes someone a great mentor? So I'll give you a few seconds to participate in this activity, and then we'll all see the responses that are popping up on the screen. If you see a response you like, click the heart button to like it. You don't have to add the comment, but it'd be good to add some descriptors. So has everyone seen the link? Any issues, please let me know. And then we should start to see some responses popping up on the screen. So you just click the link and then click the plus button. Okay, someone said empathetic. I'm going to like that with the heart. Someone whose advice you value. Yes, this is great. Keep them coming. What makes someone a great mentor? Honest, right? That's a good attribute as well. All right. Okay, this is awesome. So I'm going to keep it moving in the presentation here. So who can be, right, a mentor? It can be your peer. It could be a friend. It could be a friend of a friend. It could be your teacher, family member, coworker, right? Your current or former bosses. I've had former bosses who are my mentor, your current or former manager. So it pretty much can be anyone. So before I move on to the next slides, I just want to take a short pause to see if anyone has questions or comments, because we do want these sessions to be engaging. If you're not comfortable with coming on camera or using your mic, just use the chat, and we could field some questions from the chat as well. So any questions as I'm going on about a mentor or anything like that? If no questions, you could put no questions and I'll keep it moving in the chat. So try to use the chat button as well. All right, so I'm going to keep it moving. So we do have another activity. It's also a Padlet activity. I'm going to share my screen again. Second here. So the second question is going to be, what does it mean to have confidence, right? Because it's all about building your confidence. So whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're working for a company, it's really important to have confidence. So here is the link to the other activity. Just click the link and then you can participate, and I will do a share for this Padlet activity. So what does it mean to have confidence? And there's no right or wrong answer. So just feel free to put what comes to mind. And again, you just click the plus button and then your response will show on the screen. Believe in yourself when others don't. That's great. Okay, that sounds good. Anything else? What does it mean to have confidence? Knowing that you just know because you have worked your craft, right? Got to study to show yourself approved. So knowing your craft and being good at it is awesome. Anything else? Just keep it coming. Feeling good and how you feel. Yes. I love that. That is great. Any more before I move on to the next slide? Okay, I see one more there. Just being in the zone. That's right. Awesome. These are all fantastic. So I will keep it moving. So now I'm going to talk about confidence building tools. So I'm going to talk about developing fun skills, visualization, guard your mind, positive affirmations, and creating a strong support system. So in terms of developing fun skills, right? Many of us are bogged down with school and work and not really living what I call a balanced life. So it's okay to like develop your skills in sports. You don't have to be like LeBron James and some perfect athlete to play basketball, soccer, tennis, right? You don't have to be some major musician to do something in music, right? You can take lessons in singing, drumming, piano. Just tapping into your creative side is just another great way to build your confidence and learning something you're not good at, learning something that's new to you. And then, of course, there's the arts and the literature community, right? Drawing and painting and sculpting. Like these aren't things that are just for like young people in elementary school. We can take this into adulthood because it really is also a form of outlet, especially if you're dealing with anxiety or maybe some type of depression. These type of fun skills, what I call them, are great ways to express yourself, to deal with pain, your emotion. And of course, we know being physically active is important because a sedentary lifestyle is next to smoking. There's a lot of research that says it's not good for our health. So the walking, bike riding, roller skating, ice skating, doing all these things will really help you to build your confidence as well. So I do have a video that I'm going to play on visualization by Jack Canfield. Now, one second. I may need to go to YouTube to share my sound. Now, did you hear my sound? I don't think you heard my sound. So let's see here. Okay, you should hear my sound now.
Canfield, and today I want to talk to you about
Yes
the
or no?
connection between visualization and motivation and why creating the right pictures in your mind can increase your motivation to achieve anything you can imagine in life.
Can you hear the sound? Yes or no? So make sure the sound is playing. Just use the chat.
Some people, when they hear the word visualization, think it means sitting around daydreaming, but that's not at all what it is. Visualization is the practice of intentionally creating detailed pictures in your mind, both still pictures and motion pictures, of the outcomes you want to achieve. Visualization is a powerful tool that can help you achieve any goal, such as writing a book, getting a promotion, making more money, paying off your debts, becoming financially independent, taking that dream vacation you want, losing weight, or improving your golf game. Visualization helps you achieve your goals for several reasons. The first is because of something called structural tension. This is a psychological term for something that happens in your subconscious mind when you visualize something that doesn't exist or hasn't happened yet. When you clearly visualize something and generate all of the emotional feelings you would have if you were actually achieving that situation, you experience the same physiological reactions as if you were actually living that experience. And so your subconscious mind has this tension that it builds up between the current reality where you are and this visualization of where you want to be. And it seeks to resolve that tension that the visualization has created. And there are only two ways you can do that. It can either give up the goal or it can figure out how to make it happen. So if you make it a daily discipline to imagine the end result is already achieved, like brushing your teeth every day, you'll find yourself making decisions and taking actions that move you in the direction of your goal, even if you're not consciously aware of it. For example, let's say you dream of living in Australia for a year. You imagine yourself getting on the plane, finding a nice place to live on the beach, spending your day surfing and making friends with the locals. Every day you take time to imagine yourself living this dream life in Australia. You imagine how it will feel, who will be there with you, what it will look like, sound like, smell like, and taste like, and feel like. And before you know it, you start to get creative ideas about how to make this dream a reality. You find yourself taking actions and making decisions that will help you get to Australia. You spend your lunch hour researching job opportunities in Australia and what you need to do to get a visa. You start to notice more people around you that are speaking with an Australian accent, and you find yourself striking up conversations with them. As a result, you make more Australian friends and you're building connections with people who might be able to help you achieve your goals. You find yourself starting to save money for your big move, and you take advantage of that opportunity that everything you do is taking you closer and closer to your dreams. Why? Because the structural tension will create the motivation to actually take the action steps to make it happen. And it will help you maintain motivation even when you're faced with obstacles and challenge. And the great thing is that visualization is a fairly easy skill to master. And you can do it pretty much anywhere. You can visualize at home, at work, on a bus, sitting in the park, anywhere you can sit for a few minutes without too much distraction. All you have to do is close your eyes and imagine yourself experiencing your desired outcome.
All right, so I think you get the gist of what Mr. Canfield is saying. How many of you have heard of Jack Canfield? You can just put yes or no in the chat. Best-selling author of Chicken Soup for the Soul series. I highly recommend his books. Just Google him, see all the stuff he has to say. So when it comes to success, manifesting our greatness and what we want to do, it is about mindset. So if you visualize something bad happening and you play it out in your head, it's going to happen. But if you visualize something positive happening, it will definitely happen for you. And when you come across stumbling blocks, like I'm somebody who's got rejected from law school, applied to university more than once, didn't get in. I had to visualize myself sitting in these university classrooms and saying there's a seat there for me, the positive affirmations, which I'll talk about. So visualizations could be very powerful. If you want to have a successful business, you want to visualize what that could look like. You're running a nonprofit, right? You want to get into grad school. You want to have your certain dream job. Visualize yourself doing well at that. So I now want to talk about, just pulling out some of the things he talked about. So it's the importance of creating a detailed picture of your goals. Sorry.
And today I want to
a detailed picture of your goals or outcomes you want to achieve. And then he talked about the subconscious mind, retaining your beliefs, the experience and memories and skills we develop, and then using our senses. And this will help you to feel motivated and develop your goals more clearly. And then it will allow you to work backwards. So you visualize where you want to be, then think of the action steps you want to take. So if you want to go to grad school, you want a certain job, what are some of the things you can do now? I'm someone who's done a lot of informational interviews. So before I started running my own business, I interviewed the CEO of a multinational company. I wanted to be a lawyer, so I interviewed lots of lawyers. So any career that I thought about, I interviewed people to figure out what can I do today to get to where I want to be. And this is something you can do anywhere. So any questions or comments before I move on? Because I don't want to just talk and you're thinking of something. So you could use the chat. You can unmic yourself. Okay, and don't be shy. So I will, I think I see something in the comments. Very inspirational. You've got to see it to believe it. Yes, 100%. I agree. These are good comments. All right. So one of the exercises that I had to do, so I was someone who did not have the confidence that I have now. I was terrified of speaking in front of the public, had some challenges with my self-esteem growing up. And so now that I'm doing like speeches, not just on Zoom, but I've done speeches in front of hundreds of people, I literally had to practice this art of visualization where you visualize yourself speaking in front of a room with one person, two person, and a few more people. And then you visualize yourself doing well, speaking with confidence, visualizing how the people will respond positively. So these are some of the activities that you can do with anything, right? Whether it's, like I said, starting your business, you want to be a public speaker, things you're afraid of, you want to work in some big corporation, visualizing that interview process of them being very impressed with what you're doing and doing all that you can to develop what's called good public speaking, right? So your body language, your tone, and your pitch, making the eye contact. These are all examples of someone who has confidence. So I want to share a few wellness tips around, guarding our mind, right? So in order to have confidence and to feel motivated, it's hard to feel motivated when we look at the world as it is and some of the challenges we see politically or socially, or what we see on social media, even some of the content and the music. So we want to be very intentional about what we feed our mind and be aware of how it can affect us in terms of what we listen to affects how we think and how we act, whether it's subscribing to too much news, certain type of music that may seem toxic. So I want to encourage you to feed your mind with music that makes you feel good about yourself or your community or the world that you're in, because we do have, some content that's more in the positive, content's on the negative. When it comes to what we're subscribing to in these mass media platforms, we're constantly being bombarded with ads. There's all kind of TV shows and movies and video games and things on social media, but this will shape how you feel about yourself and perceive the world. So if it's constant negativity all the time, that can definitely have a negative impact on your mind. And then when we think about our mood, right, ask yourself, how do you feel after going through a social media feed and seeing something very combative or toxic or violent? What does that do to your mood? Do you feel better or worse? And then there's always ways to put like safety features and control with who you follow. And so these are some of the tips you can do behind the scenes so that you don't see certain types of content, because algorithms will go based on who you follow. So you want to avoid toxic content in order to guard your mind. And you also want to limit the time you spend on apps by putting in time limits and controls. And there's so many cool things you could do to do that, right? Because our mind is something that we don't want to waste. Now, this is a video that I will probably share in the link, and I'll just share a little bit of what she has to say. Just make sure that you can hear the sound. Can hear the sound, just say yes or no. And I'll just show a short clip of what she has to say about social media as it pertains to youth.
What is social media?
Can everyone hear? I just want to make sure you can hear it.
Why is it so important to us? And finally, what effect do you think it's having on the mental health of all of us? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Katanum Bevi, and I'm here today to talk to you about the unintended consequences social media is having on your mental health. Did you know a collection of Kenyan universities say that more than 60% of our youth are active social media users? Some of us spend 2 or more hours a day on social media, and I'm certain that anything we do for this long, anything we pay this much attention to, has an everlasting effect on us, whether we notice it or not. You see, the problem with the excess usage of social media is today's youth is tomorrow's future. And we ought to be using the internet to build ourselves, to be well equipped with the skills, knowledge, and traits required to build a utopia for all. But instead, we're using it to destroy ourselves and each other. And the worst part is, we don't even notice it. Today, I'd like to introduce you to 3 stresses that I believe are all caused by the excess usage of social media. These factors are commonly known and faced by almost 100% of all teenagers today. And if we aren't careful, these stresses could easily turn into full-blown mental health problems. So let's begin. The first one is insecurity. As I'm sure you know, insecurity is basically one's lack of confidence in themselves. And now you must be asking yourself, how does social media cause insecurity? Well, I'll tell you how. Each and every one of us here have a highlight reel. And just like in sports, a highlight reel is a collection of your best and brightest moments. Now, social media is your own personal highlight reel. You always want to show off your wins, best looks, amazing holidays, and unforgettable meals. And even though appreciating the good things in life isn't a bad thing, the highlight reel is the cause of most teenagers' insecurities today. And that's because we're always comparing our struggles or behind the scenes to other people's highlight reels. You look at a picture of your best friend on the beach and think, why can't I go on holiday? Why?
So I think you get the gist of what she's saying. And even though she's targeting teens, this is not unique to teens. So in terms of some discussion questions, and feel free to use the chat, and I won't go through all of them. Why should you limit your time on social media? Based on what you already know, based on some of what you heard her say, why do you think you should limit your time, and how does that impact your self-esteem? And this is not just unique to teens. Like, we have grown adults who are having this issue with living on Instagram and spending all this time and comparing themselves to people's vacations. So it's really not an issue that's unique to them. So feel free to use the chat or unmute yourself if you're comfortable, just to comment on some of these questions about why we should limit our time and how this can impact our self-esteem. Does anyone feel comfortable
Yeah.
muting? Okay, go ahead.
Colin here.
Hey,
yeah,
Colin.
real quickly, I found that with social media, everyone's perfect. What they're posting, you never really ever see someone, this is me looking horrible, my hair's not done, I'm depressed. You really ever see that. Everyone's like, I've won $1 million, I got the Ferrari. And then psychologically, when you're seeing that, you're thinking something's wrong with me on your subconscious level because everyone's successful but me. So I think the best thing to do is focus on you and be quiet and build your empire and then come out versus, always trying to compare yourself, because we will never be these people and they will never be us, the same thing. So we have greatness within us. We have to just work on it and develop it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for those insights and for sharing those nuggets. Anybody else want to share or comment? If you're not uncomfortable miking, you can, Lafayette.
Hey, so I just wanted to add to that. I'm a realist, right? So I like to just say it as it is. It's just like I always talk to young people about TV. I'm like, don't believe what you see on TV. It's called entertainment for a reason. It's not real. I'm not saying everything is fake, but I would say 80 to 90% of what you see is not real. So the same thing goes for social media. Everybody wants to put this, this thing on saying that I'm this and I'm that and I'm blah, blah, blah. But you really don't know what's happening behind the scenes, because those people could actually be doing worse than you're doing. So you're feeling bad about yourself and you're thinking they're doing good, when in all actuality, it's all fake. So, and there have been many proven cases of that. And I'm not going to call names, but if you really do your research and see what social media has brought some people to. So don't ever compare yourself to anyone on social media or on TV. Be you and be the best you can be. That's just my thought with it.
Wonderful. Love those thoughts. All right. I'm going to keep it moving in the interest of time. So another tip I want to share that will help to build your confidence, and it doesn't matter, again, this has no age limits on positive affirmations. And if you're someone like I was diagnosed with a learning disability in school growing up, so I've had my own challenges and didn't feel I was good enough or smart enough. And so I think it's really important to sometimes just speak life to ourselves and remind ourselves that we're strong, we're confident, we'll reach our goals. And even with your business, right? My business will be successful, or I'll be successful in school. I will reach it to the finish line and graduate. I will get that degree. I will walk across that stage. We have to feed ourselves these positive affirmations. And so feel free to use the chat, and I want to hear some of your affirmations. So let's do the I am affirmations, and I'll look for it in the chat. So I am, and just put it in the chat and I'll call it out. So I gave some examples. I'm strong. So feel free to use the chat. I am. I am the confident CEO that makes things happen. Yes, love it. Somebody else. I am a positive person. Yes, Aiken, love that. Anyone else? I am resilient. Yes, Pooja, that's fantastic. Anyone else? And then we'll move to I will. So let's start seeing I will and just complete the sentence. I will love myself more. Love it. Anyone else who has not commented? I will be kinder to myself. That is a beautiful one. I love that, because sometimes we run on empty and burn out. I will be a life-changing person. That is powerful. Let's do I can. I can. I can, I will, I must be the light for myself and others. That's beautiful. Anyone else who has not participated? Don't be shy. And then the last one will be, I see myself. I can be who I'm destined to be. That's good. I can keep Keeping on. I love it. And the last one is I see myself. Where do you want to see yourself? Because it's also about visualization. So I see myself, for me, I could say I see myself making a positive impact in the world. Anyone else? We want everyone to be engaging, so please participate. You just use the chat button. And then we'll move on to the next slide. I see myself making meaningful art. I see myself as a work in progress, always growing and making things and the world a better place. I see myself as a great leader with positive influence. Yes, that's beautiful. Anyone else who hasn't commented? I see myself ... All right, so I will keep it moving. So the last confidence building tip that I want to share is creating a strong support system, right? Who are your cheerleaders? Who do you go to for advice and who can you depend on? Some people have an immediate family that is their cheerleader. They go to for advice, they can depend on. Some people don't have that. You have to create that with friends or build your own circle. But as you move through this world and you start to, get into your career, you're working in some big corporation, a nonprofit, entry level, mid-level, or you're pivoting, there has to be people in your network that you can tap into who are trustworthy, who you can seek for some advice, and also, of course, people that you can depend on. Sometimes you may have to hand select these people. Sometimes these people will show up organically, but it's really important to understand the value of having a strong support system because there are times when things will get challenging. There are times when you'll feel like giving up. I have faced that time. There's many times I'm like, I can't do this entrepreneurship thing. I'm done. I'm closing up shop. But you have to have that resilience or have someone in your ear that will say, you could do this. Don't give up. Just keep on going on. So I will share a little bit of my story. It's now 7:43 and I do want to respect your time because we do finish at 8. And so I did talk about the many jobs that I've had, but they weren't so easy, right? I actually struggled to keep good jobs, good grades when I was a student. I faced a lot of rejections. When I say a lot, I had a period of 3 years where I was precariously employed. And what that means, I didn't have a stable fixed job with benefits and all the perks that come. I sent out over 1,000 resumes. I have an Excel sheet. These include jobs in the US, jobs in Canada, you name a sector, you name a position, entry level, mid-level, senior, I have applied. And this is with having a master's degree, right? And I had to find my own mentors. And one of the ways that I did that was through cold calling, what's called the Yellow Pages. And some of you may be too young to know what the Yellow Pages is. And that's Google before Google. So I went through those pages at 19, looking for a lawyer who would mentor me, take me under their wing, and introduce myself to say, hey, can I volunteer at your law firm? I got no after no. I think I got hundreds of no's, to be honest. I came across someone who said, maybe. Then I called back, so I was persistent. Then I called a third time and she said, okay, come to my office. I had an interview. She brought me in to volunteer. Then within a couple of weeks, she hired me as her legal assistant. Then she ran for office and then she brought me in to work for her. So that's kind of how my story with even working in politics began. But it really starts with looking within your community, looking for opportunities, being persistent, following up. You can't expect things to fall from the sky, fall into your lap. You have to dig, right? And then I started my own company initially in 2015. So this is a picture of me at one of my public speaking workshops that I hosted at a hotel. So I started small with just, 10 people, 20 people, and gradually it would build. And I would be strategic and intentional about building my digital footprint. So I would invite local ethnic newspapers or just local community papers to cover my event, put it in the paper, plus building my social media presence in terms of how I did my own grassroots marketing because I didn't have a big budget. And then by 2020, I incorporated my business, which I do full time now. And then I became an author of my first book, 2018, co-authored a second book in 2019, and now I'm working on publishing songs that I wrote. So that's just a little bit about my story. So does anyone have any questions about my career journey, advice about, pivoting, entrepreneurship, being an author? Just happy to chat for a few minutes before I talk about Blacks in Tech and what we do. And if you're not comfortable miking yourself, just use the chat.
Hey, quick question. How did you
Okay.
keep going when things got kind of tough as an entrepreneur or just even as a human being? what kept you
What
the
keeps
fuel
me
of fire?
going? Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a person of faith, right? So I tap into my faith when I feel weak and feel like I need some guidance. And I
Mm,
surround myself with that strong support system, right? I have some amazing friends, aunties, like my network is solid. So
good.
when I feel like giving up, they're like, you can't give up. I'm like, what you mean? But I want to know you can't give up. So can't is just not an option. And I was raised by a mother who said a quitter never wins, a winner never quits. Take can't out of your vocabulary. And even now that she's gone, this is in my head. So even if I physically want to, spiritually, I can't. So there's something in me that keeps going and keeps moving. But I think we all have that in us. And if you surround yourself with the right support system, you can get there. And again, the positive affirmation, these things over the years will show up for you when you feel like quitting. So that's what it's been for me.
I like that. So hang with those with wings on anchors, because wings lift you up, anchors pull
Come,
you down.
come on now, Colin.
Hey, Colin, may I add something to that?
Sure, man.
So here's what I've learned. What I learned a long time ago is that everyone that's achieved any level of success in life had to go through something.
Mhm.
So you're not the first one. So if you look at other people's stories, and they're all over YouTube, you'll hear their journey, and you'll see that maybe what you're going through is not that difficult.
Right.
Because nobody started at the top. Everybody
No.
started down here and worked their way up. The reason why they made it to the top was one simple word: it's resilience. Self-belief. They knew that they had something to contribute to the world, and nobody else is going to understand because no one can see your vision. No one can see your dream. Only you can see it for yourself. The hard part is convincing other people that yes, we can do this, or I can do this, so believe in me. So the short answer is look at other people's path and just understand that you're not the first one and you're not going to be the last one.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's basically what I want to say.
Yeah, that sounds good. Anyone else, comments, questions before we move on? Can you use the chat if you're not comfortable on camera or unmiking yourself? No, keep it moving. All right, I'm going to keep it moving. So just want to highlight a little bit about what I do in Blacks in Technology. Just started a couple months ago, so I am new. They threw me in the deep end, but I love being in the deep end because I don't believe in drowning, so I'm learning how to swim. So I am the Toronto chapter president, and Blacks in Technology has been around for a long time, since 2008. So they have a for-profit arm and a nonprofit arm. They're in over 30 cities, 55 chapters and counting, and they're in 11 countries. So from Nigeria to Kenya to Cameroon, France, United Kingdom, you see the list on my screen, and New Zealand, and even Australia. I connected them with a contact of mine who started the Australia Bit chapter. So the vision is stomping the digital divide. So as we know, there's not everyone who has equal access to technology, tech jobs, or even having the digital literacy skills that's needed to thrive in this economy. We also know that technology and machine learning is coming to disrupt certain traditional jobs that we're all, trained to be in, but there's a great opportunity. So even though I'm a public policy professional, I've pivoted and found my relevance in tech because every tech company is impacted by government policies, rules, and regulations. So they typically have what's called an in-house government relations person, which is what I do. And so they need my lens on public policy to help them better understand how this policy may impact what they're doing, or they may have an idea or something they want to lobby essentially the government for. They want to change the law, they want to influence the law, and what I do is relevant for that sector. So you don't necessarily have to be a STEM professional to work for a tech company. To be in tech, you can be an accountant, you could be a lawyer, and give that lens that's needed for this great industry. And there's lots of opportunities. So Blacks in Tech provides career support, networking, and of course, tech resources, which is amazing. We do have a job board. It's free to be a member, so you can join, and then ongoing networking events. So I will put the link to join in the chat later. So hopefully we'll join. So with what I'm trying to do with Blacks in Tech is build out my team and have some assistants and really have a youth focused engagement piece where we start to mentor younger people to take over the director roles and have events in the community where engage the community on opportunities to work in tech. We hear from tech professionals and tech founders, but also people that are in tech and they have some of the softer skills like myself. So I really hope you enjoyed our session. But before we wrap up, I do have some dates I want you to remember and upcoming topics. So for April 19th, it's on I think it's a third Tuesday. I plan on talking about goal planning. Okay. Then in May, I plan on doing a networking workshop. And for those of you who missed this confidence workshop, I do want to repeat it again in June. And so please pre-register. The dates are already there on Zoom. You can share with anyone in your network, 17 and older. And, hopefully you found this session valuable. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to stay behind for questions. So I'm on LinkedIn. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. You can Google me. I'm on Google. And these are my emails. So thank you so much for your time, everyone. So any questions before we wrap up our session for this evening, or comments? And I will put the link to Blacks in Technology as I promised. And you can also pre-register for the next sessions coming up. So that's the link for Blacks in Technology, and I will put the link for the upcoming sessions. And please note the difference in time zones. So we're dealing with Central Time and Eastern Standard. So
Okay. All right, since so let's just wrap up since no one has any other thoughts. So before I go, I just want to thank everyone for being here once more. Again, our goal is to provide you with information, provide you with resources and knowledge. That's what we do, not only at the Pride Foundation, but Blacks in Technology as well. So it's all one umbrella as far as we're concerned. Stacey's in Toronto. I'm in Houston. We're coordinating. We're working together. We're building together. That's how we grow as, just as people in general. So one thing that I want to leave you with as well is you see the Pride Foundation links on the screen. Please join us on Facebook. The videos will be posted on Facebook as well as on our YouTube channel. So feel free to go to our website. You'll see the other sessions that we have as well, not just this, but we have other sessions pertaining to other growth formulas, let's put it that way, for lack of a better term, because we address pretty much everything that all the challenges that you face, between the 17 and 21 age group. Because my belief is really simply that those are the most critical years in your life, because the decisions that you make at that time really will affect the things that you do for the rest of your life. So when you're a senior in high school, you have to decide, okay, what am I really going to do with my life after I get out of high school? Am I going to go to college? Am I going to go into a career? Am I going to go into the military? So there's a lot of different options. So we want to make sure that we provide you with enough information and guidance to make a good, solid decision. Because the one thing that you don't want to do is look back 20 years and go, oh, Lord, I wish I had done this, or I wish someone had told me this. Because a lot of people live with regret, and that's what we try to avoid. That's why we're doing all these seminars and trying to provide you with information. So please follow us on Facebook. Again, the video will be on there. We have other sessions that we're doing. And Stacey, I definitely want to thank you for being here, for being a part of what we're doing. Become a member of Blacks in Technology. Even if you're not going to get into technology runs the world. So you definitely want to stay abreast of everything that's happening. Membership is absolutely free. There's no catch to it. So you'll have access to all the information of everything that we're doing as a foundation. So please be a part of the movement and share the links with your friends and family and cohorts and everyone that you come across. Let them know, hey, this is what we're trying to do. It's very simple. Just register. There is no cost. So information is free, and that's what we're here for, is provide free information for you. So like I said, my name is Lafayette. It's on the screen, obviously. So if you need to connect with me, you can do that through the website, thepridefoundation.org. Anything at all that you need as far as information, mentorship, anything at all, I am here for you, as well as Stacey's here for you. So we both have 15 jobs, but but it's a labor of love. We love what we do. We love helping people. So again, thank you for your time, and you have a great evening. And as we say at the Pride Foundation, always think positive and live positive.
Thanks, everyone. And the link to the Pride Foundation is in the chat as well.